Welcome back, baseball fans, to the Fall Carryover League American League Championship Series 76, 77, 8, and 9. A lot of talk about here. Working a pregame into the games we've played. And I'll just say that this is a fascinating series. All sorts of intricacies involved. And one of the better series ever played to my recollection here. First, the story of Kansas City and Boston is that the Yankees in this era, 76, 77, 8, 9, stumbled in this 76. They don't have Reggie. The Yankees didn't. Don't want to talk about the Yankees much because this is all about Kansas City, Boston. And the Orioles don't really do anything till the 79 World Series, where they won 102 games. They won 100 games in 1980. So that clears the path for Boston. If everything goes right, they should be a powerhouse. And they are. But it is tricky. It's unconventional how Boston has to succeed. Now, on Kansas City's case, with the Oakland A's finally gone, and with Kansas City in a separate division, the fact that they would be in Major League Baseball's American League Championship Series in 76, 7, and 8, not in 79, because California was there in 79, indicates that as bridesmaids, they have a great chance of getting into the World Series if you can get past the New York Yankees. They do not have to do that right now. But let's now go to the games, and we'll get into this a little further. Let's go to game number 1. The series opens in Fenway Park in Boston with Louis Tiant against Leonard. Now, the Fenway Park phenomena for the Boston Red Sox. The Boston strategy is that they simply have Carl Yastrzemski, Carlton Fisk, Freddie Lynn, Jim Rice, Dwight Evans, at the height of their powers, cherry-picked their best years between 76 and 79, destroying right-handed pitching, plus Louis Tiant and Bill Lee holding their own, the top 2 spots in the rotation. The Boston Red Sox are going to ride that wave, their top 5 hitters and their top 2 pitchers, as far as they can go, because the team itself is not constructed as best, as efficiently as it could. They have Rick Miller on the roster, who's a redundant left-handed hitting outfielder. He has no place to play. You're clogging up DH, first, and outfield with Carbo, Rice, Lynn, Yastrzemski, Evans. There's no place for him to play. They have a backup catcher, Tamargo, for Fisk, who doesn't need a backup, who's got a -3 arm. And they have Doug Flynn, who's actually a pretty good player. He's a .290 hitting, good slick fielding infielder who comes in defense for Hobson and against left-handed pitching for Denny Doyle. Boston's bullpen is atrocious. It's crossing their fingers. Bob Stanley in the long roll, Joe Kerrigan in the closing role, hoping things don't go extra innings and they don't need a 2-inning save. That's Boston's strategy. However, one asset of the Fenway phenomenon, I haven't even talked about the fact that all of Boston's hitters against lefties aren't that good. Yaz is worse against lefties. Fisk is worse. Lynn is worse. Rice is worse. Evans is worse. All these cards have 25 to 27% plate appearances, but I have to figure that most of that 25% were in the 81 games on the road, and that visiting pitchers, they didn't put their lefties in Fenway Park once out of every 4 days. And as a result, what you have is the fact that if the Red Sox would have faced more lefties, they probably would have bashed them too. But it's a very big imbalance. They bash righties, and they're kind of so-so against lefties. But the positive aspect of the Fenway Park phenomenon is the outfield throwing arms. Because Dwight Evans, we know he's got a cannon. He's a -5 arm. I'll give him that. We know that. He's always going to be -5. But Rick Miller, again, when he does get onto play, he's got a -2 arm. He's probably a 0-arm center fielder otherwise. Freddie Lynn's got a -2 arm. Yaz is not even playing left field as a 1-E-0 with a -2 arm because he's playing first. And Bernie Carbo's got a -3 arm. And what this does in a series against Kansas City is that Kansas City, they're not going to be able to steal against the -3 arm of Fisk, but they've got an ace stealing UL Washington with speed, Brett's an ace stealer with speed, McRae ace stealer, Otis ace stealer, Al Cowens, Frank White. This team likes to go from first to third on a single, forcing you to hold the runner at first, opening up the plus opportunity, hitting a ball through the hole. And let's take an example in the very first inning. UL Washington leads off the American League Championship Series, an error off of Butch Hobson, who's a 4-37. Hal McRae gets a single, but UL, he holds at second instead of going first to third on a single, right? Because you got Carbo's -3 arm in left field. Amos Otis hits into a double play. And what you see in this game, look at the hits. Kansas City has 3 runs on 14 hits. And you're thinking, boy, that's a recipe for failure against Boston. This was an outstanding baseball game. The first run was scored in the 4th, Carbo RBI single. And then we have individual runs by Kansas City in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings. They rode Tiant as far as they could through 8. It was a 2-1 game through 8. They brought in Rick Jones. And this home run in the 9th inning by Amos Otis, who's having a big series, making it 3-1, by the way. This home run was off his own card, so it doesn't matter how good or bad Rick Jones was. Which takes us to the bottom of the 9th. The Red Sox would get 2 on with 2 out, and Butch Hobson's the batter off of the righty closer, Mark Littell. He hits a double, but it's into center field, and the Royals have some arms as well. So Amos Otis has a -4 arm in center field. Jim Rice is trying to score from first on a double. He gets thrown out at the plate to end the game. Classic baseball game, interesting strategies. Look at the number of hits Boston had. These teams had 24 hits and only scored 5 times. Kansas City, on the road in Fenway, wins game 1 with a right-handed starting pitcher, Dennis Leonard. Now, game 2, they're feeling confident because they have a lefty, Splittorff. So Kansas City's got confidence. They're playing with house money. All they really wanted was a split. Game 2, Kansas City, 11-4. And yes, Paul Splittorff, they rode that horse as long as they could. Complete game, gives up 4 runs to the Red Sox, but it was the Royals were getting those singles. They didn't have to go first to third on an outfield arm because they were getting single dots. They were getting ground balls to Butch Hobson, single dots, and making, because of his range of 4. And so in this game, 20 hits for Kansas City, too much for Boston to overcome. And again, Splittorff, because he's left-handed, was going to do enough to hold the Boston offense down. And so Kansas City wins both games in Fenway Park. They get 34 hits to win games 1 and 2. And it's not looking good for the Red Sox. Let's go to game 3. Game 3, another classic in Kansas City. Now, Marty Patton, a right-hander, is going in this game, but Kansas City's playing with house money. They're up 2-0, and they only have 1 lefty starter, Splittorff, and 2 lefty relievers, Holtzman and Gura. We'll talk about Holtzman's pretty soon. So it goes 9 innings. Boston gets 3 runs early on a Hobson homer, on a 2-run homer by Rice. You have a 2-run homer here by Bob Davis, who hit 181, has power against left-handed pitching, but he hit it off of Bill Lee's card. By the way, another unknown thing here is that the Royals aren't that good against lefties. So Bill Lee is going to pitch as long as his arm will allow. It's 3-2 Boston in the 9th. There's 2 outs in the 9th inning. Bill Lee needs to get 1 more out to give the Red Sox a win. And right here, George Brett, solo homer in the bottom of the 9th to tie the game at 3. McRae gets a double. They leave Bill Lee in to face Amos Otis with a chance to get an RBI hit to go up 3-0. He doesn't get it. Then, in extra innings, normally they would go Bob Stanley, but they went Joe Kerrigan. And the Royals said, okay, let's go Larry Gura. Because, again, you want to get the left-hander in there. So they had 9 innings of Marty Patton. They get Larry Gura in here. 3 shutout innings for Larry Gura is good news for Kansas City. But Joe Kerrigan holds the Red Sox down for 3 innings, and then that gets us to the 13th inning. In the 13th inning, the Royals have to go to their closer, Mark Littell, who's right-handed. And what does Boston do in the top of the 13th? Carlton Fisk walks. Freddie Lynn doubles, and Jim Rice, 3-run homer, 2 homers, and 5 RBIs. That's your ball game right there. And the Red Sox win in 13, 6-3, 6-4. But the Royals are thinking, okay, we lost 1. 2 games to 1. So let's get to Game 4. Game 4 in Kansas City. The home team has lost every game. Pitching maneuver. The Royals decide to send Ken Holtzman from their bullpen on the mound instead of Jim Wright, just because he's left-handed. And the Boston Red Sox go with Stan Bonson. How does Holtzman do? Well, does pretty good in the 3rd inning. Hobson doubles, Fisk an RBI double. It's 1-0. But Stan Bonson shuts down. He's a right-handed pitcher against a great Kansas City team at home. He shuts down the Royals here. We get to the 8th inning. Holtzman's still in there. He's pitched brilliantly. 1 run through 7. But eventually, even against a lefty, Jim Rice again. It's a solo homer. Dwight Evans hits a home run. And it is over. It is 4-0 Boston. Bonson gets a complete game. Holtzman did what he was supposed to do, but Kansas City, their bats just went cold, and the series is tied. 2-2, and, oh, by the way, Kansas City just used that lefty in the bullpen as a starter option. And now the only lefties they have left would be Paul Splittorff in Game 6 and Larry Gura as a setup man. So we have a Game 5. Kansas City desperately needing to reclaim the home field that they lost. They send their ace Dennis Leonard out there. Game 5, Boston pounds Dennis Leonard early. He's a right-handed pitcher, and finally, for the first time, we see what happens when the Red Sox just turn that lineup over. 2 home runs by Butch Hobson in the 3rd and 4th inning. It's 6-1. Amos Otis hits a homer in the 2nd. Amos Otis hits a 2-run homer in the 6th. The Red Sox are saying, Louis Tiant, give me everything you got. We're going to ride you as far as we can ride you. We are terrified to go to the bullpen. He puts guys on in the 7th, a guy on in the 8th. Too little, too late for Kansas City. And the flop of the Royals continues at home. They lose 3 straight in Kansas City. And the road team has won every game in this series. Boston comes home needing to win just 1 game. And Kansas City needs to see that the road team wins all 7 games. If the road team wins all 7 games, that means the Kansas City Royals will go to the World Series. So, we're back in Game 6. Kansas City is feeling pretty good because they have a lefty, Paul Splittorff. Let's take a look at him. But the Red Sox are also feeling confident because they got the spaceman, Billy, in Game 6. And the Red Sox want to win their 4th in a row right here. All bets are off into Game 7. Let's get started in a fascinating series. And I think the Royals, we thought they were going to try some stolen bases in Games 3, 4, and 5, but frankly, their offense wasn't good enough to generate any stolen bases. So, Fred Patek leads off for Kansas City, 43, flies it in a right, and that is Dwight Evans. He's a 1E, almost drops this 1E3, and he catches that one. John Wathan, 1-6. Let's take a look at Wathan's card. 1-6, double 1 to 16 is a double. Brett, 3-10, flies a right. McRae, 2-8, take a look at him. Second in the batting title in 76, his 332. Second to George Brett's 333. McRae here, RBI single. Kansas City's on the board. McRae with Amos Otis. You know what? Let's try it now. Let's try a stolen base. And oh yeah, not even close. Hey, at least they're trying, right? I think they're going to run the bases this aggressively as well in this game, against all odds. 1-0 Kansas City. Yastrzemski against the lefty. 36, single 108, lines out. Fisk, 47, single. Fred Lynn, 56, pops the third. And with 2 outs, Jim Rice having a monster series, flies to left. Amos Otis in the second, 2-4, short. Callens, 5-10. Homer, 1-13, double off the spaceman's a double. Joe Zeb, 53, pitcher, and with 2 outs. Bob Davis, another mistake from Bill Lee. Single 1-14 is a base hit by the 181 hitting Bob Davis. Let's take a look at his card. So again, Bill Lee should not be letting this happen. Runners on the corners. Frank White, 48, second X. This is Doug Flynn's a 2E10. And he makes the play. Dwight Evans, 111, bounces to short. Doug Flynn, 1-4, lines a second. Hobson, 53, flies to right. Their right fielder, all these guys can throw and catch. Al Cowens, a 1E6, makes the play. Top of the third, Fred Patek, 411, first C. Wathen, 2-3, pops the first. Forgot to mention, too, that we had individual game injuries happening pretty frequently in this series. Wathen was injured and taken out of the game. Al Cowens was injured and taken out of the game. Fisk was injured and taken out of the game. And Rick Burleson was injured and taken out of the game. So these injuries were also key as far as the substitutions. 55, ground ball to second. Burleson, 1-7, grounds to third. Tamargo, 1-8, base hit. Yastrzemski, 36, single 1-8, line out. And with 2 outs, that would have been a hit against a righty. Fisk, 37, is a walk. 2-1, 2 outs for Fred Lynn, 56, pops the third. Red Sox stumbling. McRae, 37, that's single 1-5, base hit on the 3. You know what? He's going to steal again. And he rolls a 1. Finally, no T rating on Fisk. But there you go. They got a runner in scoring position. Amos Otis, 49. Single 1-14, lines out. Al Callens, 59, double to right field, and the Royals have another run. Joe Zeb, 34. That was a big deal because who's in right field? Dwight Evans. I don't think Hal McRae is going to score from first on that with Dwight Evans throwing. So that stolen base helped that run score. Zeb, 34, short. And with 2 outs, Bob Davis is third. So the aggressiveness finally pays off. They haven't really tried to be aggressive. And now they're in a situation down 3-2 where they're just going to have to go against the odds here and even the series up. Jim Rice, 2-7, Ks. Dwight Evans, 110. Let's look at Dwight Evans' card. This is what I'm talking about. He just destroys right-handers, but a 110 is not even on base. It's a fly to left. Doug Flynn, 34, short. So far, so good for Kansas City, 2-0. Splittorff is not a lights-out lefty starter either. He's good, but he's not, Steve Carlton or Randy Jones or someone like that. But the fact that he throws left-handed is a big deal in this series. 1-8, Frank White, Ks. Patek, 54, pops the second. Wathen, 36, base hit. Brett, 5-10, off the spaceman's card, 2-run homer. This damage is mostly off of Bill Lee's card, and for the first time, Bill Lee has given up 4 runs in the first 5 innings of a game. He's had an incredible run for the Red Sox this year, but he's stumbling in Game 6. Hal McRae, 59 double. The road teams are feeling it in this series. Amos Otis, 48, second X. Flynn's a 2E10. Makes the play. Inning is over. 4-0. Boston has some work to do if they want to go to the World Series. Butch Hobson, 57, pops to first. Burleson, 34, lines of short. You're thinking that the Red Sox are going, just get through this lefty. There's no more left-handers to go in Game 7. Ken Holtzman can't pitch. The only thing Kansas City could do was use Larry Gura as a relief starter in Game 7, which is very possible. But that would mean he's a relief 4, starter 6. He definitely could start the Game 7. So that could be interesting. Tamargo, 410, flies left. I think I'm leaning towards doing that. Because Kansas City, you're talking about the road team winning 7 consecutive baseball games when I have a home field advantage worked in. So the odds are incredibly stacked against Kansas City. You may as well go lefty-lefty if there is a Game 7. So let's get back to this. Top of the 6th, here's Al Cowens, 3rd. Zeb, pops short. Bob Davis, this guy's a left. Jim Rice is in left field today, a 3, E15, and a base hit. Frank White, 2-6, 3rd. Okay, bottom of the 6th, Splittorf. With a 4-run lead, he's not coming out until you get 4 runs. Yastrzemski, 2-4, pitcher. Fisk, 58, pops the 2nd. Fred Lynn, 48, a hit off of Splittorf's card, double 1-2 single. And with 2 outs, Jim Rice, 2-6, single ... Runners on the corners, Dwight Evans. Remember, he rolled a 110 last time. 35 against the lefty is a walk. Against the righty, it's a single, could score a run. Bases loaded, 2 outs for Doug Flynn. The good news for Kansas City is that Splittorf is a starter 7, so he can't break in this inning. Doug Flynn does not have power, can't hit a grand slam to tie the game. Let's look at Doug Flynn's card, though. He really is good against lefties. Doug Flynn, the pitch. 69 off of Splittorf is ground ball 2nd C, and the inning's over. This has been a really fascinating playoff series. Fred Patek in the 7th. 2-9, flies left. Wathan, 46, left. Brett, 47, walks. Heck, he'll try and steal. And he's going to be out. He is an A stealer, but you got Fisk with a -3 arm. Oh, with 4-runner lead, you can do things like that. There's no significant defense to bring in. Akins is a better E rating at first than the current first baseman, but it's stretch time. We're listening to the Boston Dirty Water Standells. Hoping that, this will rally the Red Sox here. Down 4-zip, bottom of the 7th. Butch Hobson leads it off. 1-5, grounds a short. Burleson, 39 walk. Tamargo, 1-3, right. 2 outs, Yastrzemski. 2-5, grounds to first. And you're seeing this play out, folks. You're seeing that it's the left-handed pitching is just killing this Red Sox team. I can't win a game at home. Throw lefties in Fenway is the strategy. Top of the 8th, 4-0. Spaceman's going to give you everything he's got. McRae, 57, pops to first. Amos Otis, 312 short. Splittorf is currently a dark horse series MVP candidate if he can win 2 of Kansas City's 3 games. Al Cowens, 2-8, double 1, single. And Joe Zeb, 5-10 off of the Spaceman card. It's simply, it's not a home run. It's single 1-13. Runners on the corners, 2 outs for Bob Davis, who's so awful you want to pitch to him. You don't want to get one of those bench guys in there. 2-11, Bob Davis pops the 3rd and stays 4-zip. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Splittorf, 6 more outs to go. Carlton Fisk, 35 is a walk against a lefty. Fred Lynn, 1-6 is a K. Jim Rice carrying the Red Sox. 2nd X, this is Frank White, a 1-19. We had a huge blunder here, and it's a 4-6-3 double play. 9th inning, the Spaceman. May as well leave him in there. Save your bullpen. Frank White, 43. Right X. It's Dwight Evans. He's a 1-3. Makes the grab. And Larry Gura is gone. He's leaving the bullpen, and he's getting some rest. He is going to be your Game 7 starter. They've just announced. Ground ball to short, Fred Patek. Wathen singles. And with 2 outs, Brett grounds the first. Bottom of the 9th, Splittorff isn't going anywhere. Dwight Evans, 2-9, grounds to short. Boston's about to get shut out at home. Doug Flynn, 67, grounds the second. Frank White's a 1-19. And with 2 outs, Butch Hobson, 310 is a fly ball to left field. Was a 4-hitter. I know Boston's bad. I didn't expect them to be this bad. So they were up 3-2 with 2 cracks to win it. And this is, I have no idea who's going to win Game 7. This is crazy. But if you want to go with momentum and the road team and a lefty, I'm going to say Kansas City does it. And that's my pick at this point. Very unconventional but interesting series. Billy loses a 13-hitter, 4 runs. All earned, a walk and a strikeout. He gets a complete game. Splittorff, he gets the win. 4-hit shutout. 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, and a K. 1-0-9, 0-1-0-9, 4-13-0-4. 1-1-4-2, 4-2-1-1. Wow, what a series. This will go 7 games. Each team has their strengths and weaknesses, and they're playing out to form. Playing exactly to form as we thought they would play out. There's something to be said about if you have 2 lefties in your rotation, or if you have 1 or 2 lefties in your bullpen who can go into your rotation, and you go up against a team who doesn't hit lefties well, that's in. When you have a 20-man roster team instead of a 25-man roster team, you can exploit it. Let's look at the year-to-date numbers for some of these guys. So Tiant and Lee are 7-3 and 7-2, holding up their own. By the way, what's Bill Lee's ERA? 2.05. Bill Lee, 7-2 with a 2.05 ERA, could not put the Red Sox in the World Series in Game 6. And Doug Bird, who got beat up earlier in the series, is 3-4. Do you want to know what his ERA is? His ERA is 5.34. That's who Boston's throwing in Game 7. Kansas City, 25-15. What is Splittorff on the year? He's 5-2 with a 2.59 ERA. Leonard is 6-4. Marty Patton is 5-0. Wow. With a 2.81 ERA, but he's right-handed, and he's not going to go in a game. We can put him in the bullpen, where we know Marty Patton eventually becomes a reliever. But I got to go Larry Gura. It's just so much data suggests that you got to throw a lefty against the Red Sox if you have a chance. And the fact that I'll show you the other lefty cards. So Ken Holtzman, you see, starter 6, relief 3. He's in the bullpen normally. And there's Larry Gura. He's a relief 4, starter 6. He's normally in your bullpen. He hasn't pitched in 2 days. He's going to start Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. Call it baptism under fire, but by next year, Larry Gura will be in the Kansas City rotation anyway. He just gets to do it. This kind of reminds me in modern baseball of when, was it David Price of Tampa, who was a starting pitcher, came out of the bullpen to help the Tampa Bay Rays eliminate the Red Sox and get into the 2008 World Series against the Phillies. I think it was 2008. I might have that year wrong. If you can recall, the Tampa Bay Rays' first World Series appearance was helped by starting pitcher David Price going into the bullpen. This is kind of the opposite. We're taking a guy in the bullpen and putting him in the rotation. So that's the discussion today. It's been a long, great series. And I'll play a Game 7 and get back with you all. Thank you for checking it out. We'll see you next time. Okay, baseball fans, here's what happened. Game 7. Final score, Boston Red Sox 6, Kansas City 2. Congratulations, the Boston Red Sox are going to the World Series. 6-2, home team finally won a game, Game 7. Early, Jim Rice, another home run, and then they got a run off a pass ball off a catcher and got another single with 2 outs. 3 runs early seemed to set the tone for the Red Sox, playing with a lead, which they haven't been able to do in their home games. So even though they're facing a lefty, at least they had the lead in this game. Then, in the 5th inning, Kansas City comes back. It's 3-2, but Fisk has an RBI double in the bottom of the 5th. And then in the bottom of the 7th, with 2 outs, in a 4-2 game, Larry Gurr, the lefty, gives up a homer off of his own card to Freddie Lynn, a left-handed hitter. And that seems like the straw that broke the camel's back. Doug Bird is the story. 9 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, didn't walk a batter, struck out 4. And the Boston Red Sox finally dispatched the Kansas City Royals. The World Series will be the Boston Red Sox, #1 seed in the American League, will have home field, and they will entertain the Philadelphia Phillies, the #2 seed in the National League. Philadelphia at Boston will be the World Series. Thanks for checking it out. We'll see you again soon.